Picture this. You're standing in a car dealership, about to sign papers on a $40,000 SUV. The salesperson is walking you through the monthly payment, $687 a month, totally doable on your salary. You're imagining yourself behind the wheel, pulling into your driveway, your neighbors noticing. But here's what you're actually buying, and I promise you, it's not a car. You're buying $1.2 million of future wealth that you're choosing to delete from your life. See, that $40,000, if you invested it instead at a 10% average return, would turn into $1.2 million over 35 years. But it gets worse. That $687 monthly payment, that's not just car debt. That's $687 every single month that won't be working for you, compounding, growing, multiplying while you sleep. We're not even talking about insurance, gas, and maintenance yet. The top 1% see this transaction completely differently than you do. When they look at that SUV, they don't see a car. They see 1.2 million tiny employees they're about to fire. And once you start seeing money the way they do, you can't unsee it. And honestly, it's going to ruin a lot of purchases for you, but it's also going to make you wealthy. Here, I break down exactly how wealthy people think about money so you can start implementing these strategies today, even if you're starting from zero. And if you've ever felt like you're making decent money but somehow still living paycheck to paycheck, or you want to finally understand why some people seem to accumulate wealth effortlessly while you're grinding just to stay afloat, hit that subscribe button and drop a like if this resonates with you. Because what I'm about to share isn't talked about enough. Now, before we get into the exact mental frameworks the 1% use, let me paint you a picture of what we're actually dealing with. You make $75,000 a year. Not bad, right? You're doing better than a lot of people. But every single day, you're making tiny financial decisions that are quietly destroying your future. You're at Target for laundry detergent and you throw in a $43 decorative candle because the package looks nice and you had a long week. You deserve it, right? You're scrolling Instagram at 11 p.m. and see an ad for those wireless earbuds everyone has. $189, free shipping. You've got the money in your checking account. Click, purchase complete. Your friends want to go to that new restaurant downtown. Entrees are $38 each, plus drinks, plus tip. You do the mental math, it'll probably be $80 total. You can swing it, barely. But you say yes because saying no feels cheap, feels small, feels like admitting you can't afford your own life. And here's the thing, none of these are catastrophic purchases. You're not buying a yacht. You're not gambling your rent money. You're just living a normal middle-class American life. But that's exactly the problem. Because here's what actually happens in the brain of someone in the top 1% when they see that same $43 candle at Target. Their brain doesn't calculate, can I afford this? Their brain automatically, almost involuntarily, calculates something completely different. They see that $43 and think, okay, that's $43 that could grow to about $300 in 20 years if I invested it instead. Is this candle worth $300 of future money? And like 95% of the time, the answer is no. The candle goes back on the shelf. It's not discipline. It's not willpower. It's not that they're cheap or that they hate nice things. They've just trained their brains to see the invisible price tag on everything, the real price, the future price. And once you start seeing it, every spending decision becomes a negotiation with your future self. There's actually a term for this in behavioral economics. It's called temporal discounting, which is just a fancy way of saying that our brains are terrible at valuing future rewards compared to immediate ones. $1 today feels way more real and more valuable than $10 in 10 years, even though mathematically that's insane. But the wealthy have basically hacked their own temporal discounting. They've made the future feel real and present. When they see that $189 for wireless earbuds, they literally feel the loss of the future wealth, not just the present cash. Let me show you exactly how this works with real numbers, because this is where it gets wild. Let's say you're 30 years old and you spend $200 a month on what I call invisible purchases. Coffee here, a streaming service there, impulse Amazon orders, the occasional Uber Eats because you're too tired to cook. Just $200 a month. Seems harmless. That's $2,400 a year, which already sounds worse when you say it like that. But here's the part that will mess with your head. If you invested that $200 a month instead, earning a 10% average annual return, by the time you're 65, you'd have $632,000. Let me say that again. More than $500,000 from skipping the stuff you won't even remember buying. That latte you bought 3 months ago, you don't remember it. But that $6.50 remembered. It could have been working for you this whole time, earning money while you slept, while you worked, while you scrolled TikTok at 2 a.m. But here's where it gets really interesting. The 1% don't just see individual purchases differently. They've structured their entire financial lives to make this opportunity cost thinking automatic. Let me tell you about something I noticed when I started working with higher net worth clients as an accountant. They had what I started calling boring money and fun money, and the ratio was always the same, about 95% boring, 5% fun. The boring money, completely automated. It comes out of their paycheck before they even see it. Retirement accounts, index funds, real estate investments, boring stuff that grows silently in the background. They've made it so boring and so automatic that they literally forget it exists. And that's the point. Because here's what most people completely miss. Decision fatigue is the enemy of wealth building. Every time you have to decide whether to save money or spend money, you're burning willpower. You're creating an opportunity for your impulsive brain to win. But if the money never hits your checking account in the first place, there's no decision to make. The 1% have eliminated the decision entirely. Their wealth building happens in the background, boring and automatic and unstoppable, like a slow-moving glacier that eventually carves through mountains. And then there's the other 5%, the fun money. And here's the kicker. They spend this money with absolutely zero guilt, because they've already won the game with the other 95%. They'll drop $400 on a nice dinner and not think twice about it. They'll buy the expensive wine. They'll upgrade to first class, because the math is handled. The future is secured. This isn't spending that's destroying their wealth. This is spending that's happening on top of wealth that's already being built. Most people do the exact opposite. They try to be disciplined with 100% of their money, which means they're constantly choosing between their present happiness and their future security. And that's exhausting. That's why budgets fail. That's why you feel guilty about every purchase. You're trying to use willpower and discipline to solve a problem that should be solved with systems and automation. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this sounds great for people who make 6 figures, but I'm barely saving anything as it is. How am I supposed to automate 95% of my income? And I get it. I've been there. When I first started my career, I was making $38,000 a year in a city where rent alone was $1,400 a month. The idea of automating savings felt like a joke. But here's the thing. The percentage matters more than the amount. If you can only save $100 a month right now, automate that $100. Make it leave your account the day you get paid. And yeah, $100 a month doesn't sound like much, but that same $100 a month over 35 years at 10% returns becomes $379,000. You're not building wealth with discipline. You're building wealth with time and consistency and compound interest doing the heavy lifting. And something remarkable happens psychologically when you automate even a small amount. You stop seeing that money as yours. It's like it never existed. Your lifestyle adjusts to what's left. I've seen this happen hundreds of times. Someone starts automating $200 a month, and within 2 months, they don't even notice it's gone. Their spending naturally compresses to fill the space available. But if that $200 is sitting in their checking account, they'll find a way to spend it. new shoes, a concert ticket, a slightly nicer bottle of wine than they need. There's this moment in every person's financial journey when the math starts to feel real, when the compound interest actually becomes visible and meaningful. For most people, it happens somewhere around the $25,000 mark in investments. Before that, the numbers are growing, but they're small enough that it doesn't feel significant. You save $100, it grows to $110, whatever. But when you've got $25,000 invested and it grows by $2,500 in a good year, you start to feel it. That's real money. That's a vacation. That's a used car. Except you didn't work for it. Your money worked for it. And this is where the identity shift happens. You're not just someone who has money saved. You've become the type of person whose money makes money. And that changes how you see everything. That $40,000 car, you're not just seeing the sticker price anymore. You're seeing the $1.2 million it costs in future wealth. That $80 dinner with friends, you're seeing the $558 it would be worth in 20 years. I'm not saying you never buy the car or go to dinner. I'm saying you start making those choices consciously with full awareness of what you're trading. And most of the time, once you see the real price, you choose differently. Here's something else the top 1% understand that most people don't. Your money is your employee, and you're currently a terrible manager. Think about it like this. If you had an employee who could make you $10 an hour, would you tell them to stay home and do nothing? Of course not. You'd put them to work. Every dollar you have sitting in a checking account earning 0.01% interest is an employee you're paying to do nothing. Every dollar you spend on something that doesn't improve your life or produce future returns is an employee you're firing. The wealthy look at their money and think, how many employees do I have working for me right now? Someone with $500,000 invested at a 10% return has an army of 500,000 employees, collectively earning them $50,000 a year. They could literally quit their job and let their money employees do the work. Someone with $50,000 invested has $5,000 a year being produced by their money employees. Not enough to quit yet, but it's a start. It's a foundation. And here's what's wild. Building that first $50,000 is harder than building the next $450,000. Not because the math is different, because the psychology is different. When you have $2,000 saved and it grows by $200, your brain barely registers it. When you have $200,000 saved and it grows by $20,000 in a year, you feel it. You see your money working. You see the employees showing up and doing their job. And that makes it easier to keep going. But here's where most people mess this up, and I see it constantly. They finally build up some savings. Maybe they get to $15,000 or $20,000 in the bank, and then they decide to reward themselves. They've been so disciplined, so focused, and they deserve something nice. So they buy a car they don't really need, or they finance a kitchen renovation, or they take a $5,000 vacation to celebrate their progress, and boom, they've just fired half their money employees. They're back to square one. I'm not saying don't ever spend money on things you enjoy. I'm saying understand the real cost. That $5,000 vacation isn't just $5,000. It's $35,000 of future wealth if you're 30 years old. Is this specific vacation worth $35,000 of future money? Maybe it is. Maybe it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip that creates memories you'll treasure forever. Maybe it's totally worth it. But most of the time, if you're honest with yourself, it's not. The top 1% have gotten ruthlessly honest about this calculation. They say no to almost everything so they can say yes to the few things that actually matter. They drive boring cars because cars are depreciating assets that destroy wealth. They live in houses that are smaller than they can afford because big houses come with big maintenance, big utilities, big property taxes. They keep their fixed expenses low and their investment rate high. And this is the part that actually gives them more freedom, not less. Because when your expenses are low and your investments are high, you have what I call walking away money. You have enough saved that if your boss is an idiot, you can quit. If a better opportunity comes along, you can take the risk. If you want to start a business, you've got a cushion. Wealth isn't about buying stuff. Wealth is about buying options. I spent an embarrassing amount of time analyzing this before I figured it out myself. And once I started automating my investments and seeing every purchase through this opportunity cost lens, everything changed. Not just my bank account, my entire relationship with money. I stopped feeling guilty about the things I did buy because I knew the foundation was handled. And I stopped buying most of the things I thought I wanted because once I saw the real price, I realized I didn't actually want them that much. Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. You're already handling money like the top 1%. You're just doing the inverse. Where they see future wealth and choose to preserve it, you see present pleasure and choose to spend it. Where they automate their wealth building, you're automating your wealth destroying with subscriptions and recurring purchases and lifestyle inflation. Where they've made saving boring and automatic, you've made spending easy and frictionless. The good news? You can flip the script. You can start seeing dollars as employees instead of spending tokens. You can automate your wealth building before you automate your spending. You can make the future feel as real as the present. It's not complicated. It's just uncomfortable at first because it requires seeing the truth about what your money could become if you stop trading it for things you won't remember in 6 months. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next month when you get that raise, not after you pay off that one credit card. Today. Automate something, even if it's just $50 a month. Make the future self you're going to become in 30 years a real person in your mind. Picture them. What do they wish you had done today? They're not wishing you'd bought the candle. They're not wishing you'd upgraded your car. They're wishing you'd given them a foundation, a cushion, an army of money employees working silently in the background. Your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. The top 1% made that decision a long time ago. It's your turn.